Good morning, everyone. Sabrina here. Today, we are going to be jumping right into the book of Ecclesiastes. I'm going to be reading the NLT version in chapter 11, verses 4 through 6. We read, "Farmers who wait for perfect weather never plant. If they watch every cloud, they never harvest. Just as you cannot understand the path of the wind or the mystery of a tiny baby growing in its mother's womb, so you cannot understand the activity of God who does all things. Plant your seed in the morning and keep busy all afternoon, for you don't know if profit will come from one activity or another, or maybe both." And I think of the farmer or the farmers and the faith that they have, putting in all this work to hopefully see the fruits of their labor, and not really knowing the ins and the outs and the details of how the season's going to look, but continuing to put in that hard work and trusting that it's all going to be okay. And I think of my own faith and how often faith is mentioned in the Bible, yet we as believers, we really struggle sometimes to have that kind of great faith. And when I was studying this, Google Maps came to mind. And if you're directionally challenged like myself, you'll probably feel this deeply. But I think of the amount of faith and hope that I have in my Google Maps. And if it's not on, I get a little bit panicky, especially if I don't know where I'm going. But once it's on, I feel like I can breathe easy, like I can have peace about where I'm going and that everything's going to be okay. And I started thinking, what if we put that same trust in the Lord in just every step and in every turn that we take? How would that look different for us? Knowing that He's in control and it's all going to be okay. And not only that, what if we went into this new year with that type of great faith and not only challenged ourselves, but we challenge others to make this a priority? And for me, when I think of stepping out in great faith in 2024, I think of a few things. One of them is I think of stepping out in boldness when I'm afraid. I think of asking the Lord each day, what do you have for me today? Is it talking to a complete stranger? Is it praying for a coworker even when I feel nervous or don't have the words to say? And time again, the Lord has shown me when I do step out in faith, it leaves me in such shock and awe and sometimes even in tears at what He's capable of doing. And the same is true on the flip side when I say no or when I don't step out in faith and obedience, just that regret and that remorse, wondering what could that have looked like if someone had an encounter with the Lord because I stepped out in faith? How could their day, how could their life have changed if I would have just stepped out in obedience? And a couple of other things that come to mind when I think of great faith is in our business, setting big goals and working hard to achieve them, doing everything as unto Him and working with excellence. And maybe He wants to set your business apart so that others can be blessed and that He could be glorified. Maybe you're also a business owner and you want to excel and expand this year, but you're putting limits on what God is capable of doing in your business. Or you've been working for the same place for a long time and you feel stuck and feel like the Lord has placed dreams and visions in your heart for something new and fresh, but you're terrified to step out. Maybe you want to homeschool and don't feel adequate, or you're a new believer and you want to implement faith, building faith in your home, building faith in your family, and you don't know where to start. Whatever you put your hands and feet to do in this new year, the Lord has equipped you to do, and He has given you everything you need, every tool you need to do it. And Galatians 6, 4 through 9, it reads, "You will always harvest what you plant. Let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up." There is a quote here that I read this week. It said, "Oftentimes we are waiting for a moment when God has called us to movement." And I love that. This takes such great faith to actually do. So as you reflect on this passage today and these passages that I read, let this be our prayer. Lord, help us not to grow weary in doing well and doing it with excellence as unto you. Help us to faithfully plant the seeds you have placed in our heart and in our lives. Help us to not grow weary and discouraged when we do not see results, but to trust you and faithfully continue to serve you. I'm praying for you today as you step out in faith. God bless and have a great day.